I raised my sister's 3 children when she abandoned them a few years later. They gave me money as a token of their appreciation, but she was furious and demanded that I return it. Hello. I'm 48 years old and I have a younger sister named Diana, who is 46. When we were children, Diana and I never got along. She was always too pretentious and a bit mean to me. After we started high school, we went our separate ways. I chose to go to school, while she decided to move in with her then-boyfriend. Fortunately, her boyfriend was rich, otherwise our parents definitely would not have been able to afford the rent for her to live on her own. But she made it clear to our parents that she didn't want to know what they thought about her life, and that she would do as she pleased, so my parents never tried to stop her and just let her be. She had twin daughters when she was 20, and then a boy when she was 21. At the age of 1, she was living with her boyfriend and her parents were happy for her, but also a little worried because she now had a lot of responsibility and was not working, relying entirely on her boyfriend's money to support her lifestyle. Diana never married her boyfriend, which I think was a mistake because at least then she would have had alimony if they broke up. When Diana discovered that her boyfriend had cheated on her, she was lucky that he did provide for her, and that she was entitled to maintenance. But he chose to renounce his paternity and signed a document renouncing his parental rights. At the time, the girls were only 3 years old, so they were really young, and my nephew was only 2. My sister was completely on her own after that, and she needed all the help she could get to be able to support herself. Now, I don't have a good relationship with her, but as a parent I decided to help her. At the time I was earning quite a lot of money, but it wasn't enough to support the 4 of them, but I could at least chip in a small amount each month with my parents. In the first few months I had a hard time finding her a job because she had neither a degree nor work experience. She had to start at the bottom and work her way up. The work required a lot of time if she wanted to progress quickly, but that was difficult because she also had to think about the children and couldn't leave them at home. She could hire a babysitter, but it was expensive, so she had to rely on me or her friends. Our parents also work and support her, so they can't stay at home, and neither can I. She has no friends who can take care of her children, because they all have their own lives and their own jobs, and no one wants to take on such responsibility. So she has to take jobs that pay very little so she can work flexible hours and get home quickly so she doesn't have to pay a nanny to look after the children for too long, because that would be very expensive and she can't afford it. This situation continued for several years, and I guess Diana began to resent her children because they were getting in the way of her success. In her mind, they were the only thing standing in her way. I occasionally visited her, not for her sake but for the children's, because I wanted to make sure they were all right. I didn't have a good relationship with her, but I wasn't heartless enough to let a group of innocent children suffer the consequences of their mother's poor decisions. So my parents and I would visit the children regularly, and they always complained about how badly Diana treated them. She scolded them for trivial things, and when they were just children and wanted to have some fun, she would fly into a rage. It was just a miserable life for them. I wish I could help them and take them out of that house and keep them with me, but I can't do that because she is the legal parent and I have the right to raise them. Besides, she gets alimony from her ex-husband and struggles to make ends meet. I feel a little sorry for her, but more for the children. However, the situation is very bad because after that she also started dating other men, and whenever her relationship failed, she would start blaming her children. Apparently, she thinks that her boyfriend will break up with her once he finds out that she is the mother of 3 children. Personally, I think this is because she never mentioned this during the first few dates, but waited until they had been together for a month or more. I think that as a single mother, it's really too long to keep such a secret. I think you should tell them frankly, otherwise it would be dishonest and a bit strange. I tried to explain to her many times, but she really believes that she was broken up with just because she has children. She always torments them with this, reminding them over and over again how their father abandoned her. And she even threatens that if they don't listen to her, she will abandon them too. So they have been very afraid of her. They were always full of their mother's narcissism. This situation continued for several years. I even joked that I should take them away with me, but I couldn't do that, nor could I apply for custody of the children or try to report her, because what she did was bad, but not bad enough to be deprived of custody of the children. So things just continued like that, and they were very happy to have me around because my parents were too old to be their friends, but I was always there for them whenever they needed me. They could never tell their mother that, they always came to their aunt, that's what they did, And whenever they had any problems at school or academically or even with Diana, they would just come straight to me, and I really liked that. I felt like they trusted me, and I really value that. So when they turned 18, they decided to leave their mother's house and move in with me. It's not surprising now that they are no longer legally minors, they can choose where to live and who to live with, so they chose to live with me. Diana was obviously very disappointed about this and had a lot to say about it. For example, she said she had wasted 18 years raising these children, and in the end they didn't even choose her. She was very unhappy about this and told me that if I really wanted to raise her children, I should have intervened earlier, not taken over when they turned 18 when the job was basically done. I really wanted to tell her that she didn't rest, that they were almost all raised by themselves, because she was always going out to work or would later date other men. And when they found out that she had 3 children, they would eventually break up with her. She simply didn't realize what should be prioritized, and as a result, the children chose the person who had always been with them, rather than the one who had always tormented and blamed them, simply because she couldn't find anyone and she wasn't happy in her life. She just never realized that she was hurting them, just because she was hurting herself. But I didn't want to hurt her feelings because I knew that would hurt her too. That's why she got angry with me, so I just kept my mouth shut. That was that, and we didn't have much contact after that. Her children decided to cut ties with her and move in with me. She also decided to cut ties with us and stop speaking to anyone, not even our parents. It was strange because they hadn't done anything. I think my niece and nephew chose to move in with me, and they didn't take her side against me, which made her very angry, and she also cut them off. 7 years have passed since then, and they are both doing well now. To be honest, I don't know what Diana is up to, but I know that her children are doing well. My nephew went to medical school and is now a pediatrician. One of my nieces got a degree in literature and is now a teacher. Her twin sister runs her own hair salon. I helped them all apply for loans and supported them as much as I could. And now I'm really proud of them because they're doing well and have changed a lot compared to their old lives. They all live their own lives now, and they only lived with me for 4 years, and it wasn't really them living with me because they were usually at college and only came back occasionally. I guess I just didn't want to go back to a situation where they didn't feel welcome. I'm still talking about Diana's family, and they've been gone for 2 years now, and I'm happy for them. I never expected anything in return because honestly, I did it just because I thought it was the right thing to do. They're just kids, and no matter what unpleasantness there was between my sister and I would never be heartless to them. I have always had compassion for them because I never had any children of my own and I was never even married. Personally, I don't like children, but I wanted to play the role of parent to them because their father was not around, and, as we all know what kind of person Diana was, they needed someone to look after them and my parents were too old for the job, so I stepped up and it was the only thing I could do. I never expected anything in return, but I was happy that they were the kind of children who think I should be thanked, even though I don't think I need to be compensated for it. About a week ago, I celebrated my 48th birthday. I invited friends and family, including my nieces and nephews. I had a great time, and my nephews were very considerate in arranging everything for me. Although I wanted to pay for everything, he told me that he would bear the cost because now he earns enough to do something for me to show his gratitude. After the party, the 3 of them sat down and chatted with me, telling me that the 3 of them had discussed it and that now that their financial situation was stable, they wanted to show me their gratitude and planned to write me a joint check as a token of their appreciation. I told them that this was unnecessary because I was still working and could now fully support, so I don't need the money, but they told me that it wasn't because they wanted to pay off their debts. They were very sweet and told me that no matter what I did for them, they could never repay me because it was a real amount of money, but the support I gave them was something they could never compensate for, so I tried to express my gratitude in this way. I was really touched and decided to post about it on social media. I just wanted to thank them for everything they've done for me. I haven't had any contact with my sister for the past few years, so I didn't think she'd care. I'm blocked on all platforms, so I don't think she'll even be able to find this, so I didn't think it mattered. To be honest, Diana never bothered to reconnect with us and try to understand what her kids were doing after they left home. They agreed that they were the ones who cut ties with her and moved in with me so they could get away from her, but it was more or less her fault. She should at least show an interest in their lives and try to be a mother so she can right her wrongs, but honestly, she doesn't seem to care too much about losing contact, and I think she's doing pretty well. A few days ago, I received a message from her. I didn't expect her to contact me because, as I said, we haven't been in touch for 6 years, But I should have guessed that as soon as she knew her children's financial situation was stable, she would be like a bloodhound, sniffing out how much money she could get out of them. In her message to me, she told me that she read the post I posted and now wants to talk to me about her children. She said that she knows she messed up at the beginning and wasn't a good mother the first time around, but now she wants to build a relationship with them and she wants to give herself a chance as a mother because she feels like she has missed them so much over the past 6 years. I don't know how much truth there is in this because if she really missed them, she could have at least contacted me once. She told me that she wanted me to talk to her children and try to bridge the gap between them because they respond well to me. The timing was very suspicious and I chose to ignore the message because I was really angry at her for trying to do something because when I didn't respond to her message, she knew it very clearly and she called me at night and I was so angry that I told her that she wanted me to talk to her children and get back in touch with her. I told her I would never do such a thing because I know what she is trying to do. I know perfectly well that she is only after the money, and that she doesn't actually care about their well-being. She pretends to care because she wants to get close to them, and by close I mean their bank accounts. If she truly regretted what she had done, she should have contacted them directly, not me. She couldn't even let go of her pride and ego. Even though she had messed up, she still expected the kids to reach out to her. It's shocking how self-righteous she was, having messed up in the first place. She tried to argue with me and tell me she wasn't after their money, and I implied that it was insulting to say she was, but I told her I didn't imply it and I was pretty sure because it was pretty obvious. I was disgusted and revolted by what she was trying to do. Then she tried to tell me that I first stole everything from her, I stole her children and now I'm stealing her wealth from her, so I told her I don't need the money. At first I was skeptical about accepting the check, but now I'm going to take everything from her because she doesn't deserve the money. Now she's crying on social media, crying and going around spreading what I said, trying to make me look like a bad person. Some of my relatives even think I went too far, that it makes me look greedy. They think I owe her an apology. It's unbelievable. That's why I'm asking Ida. Because I told my sister that her children decided that she doesn't deserve the money she's offering me. Update. I discussed the matter with my nephews and niece, because the comments told me that they had also heard about it from several relatives, and that they had been thinking about talking to me about it but never had the time. However, now I called them and discussed the matter with them, and they told me that they think I did the right thing. My nephew was very open about his feelings and said that he had never seen his mother as a mother, and that she had always been me throughout his life, because she had never even been around. My niece agreed with him. He has always been the most outspoken of them, which is not surprising. It all came from him. My nieces are too emotional to speak, but he was really very angry and sad. He told me that Diana must talk to me because she has never fulfilled the minimum obligation. This is because she received child support from their father. Even so, she would constantly mock them, making them feel bad for living their lives, which is not even their fault, and that's the truth. So they think I'm doing the right thing and tell me that they won't contact their mother no matter what happens. And they also think I should tell my story online because Diana decided to speak badly about me, and social media is the best way to get the message across, so I guess I should do it. I'm really glad they decided to stand by me because my parents have completely disengaged and told me they don't want to be involved. I found that really strange because Diana never spoke to the children after they cut her off. I found my parents' diplomatic handling of the situation really strange because they too had never spoken to Diana in the past 6 years. I was a little disappointed about that, but at least my nieces and nephew were on my side anyway. Now to address a question that many people have for me. Since I know Diana to be a bad mother and bad for the children, why don't I apply for custody and take the children away from her? As I mentioned in the post, although her behavior was wrong, it did not constitute abuse, neglect, or torture. She was just mean to them all the time and was not fully emotionally responsible for the children. Maybe I could apply for custody, but by putting the children in my care, the court usually wants the family to be reunited, and since their father has already left them, their mother is the only biological parent they have left, so the court naturally wants the family to be reunited. I knew that if I made any complaint against her or took any legal action against Diana, she would make sure that I never saw them again, that she would make sure that she got the children away from me, and that it was already unlikely that I would be able to get them away from her and gain full custody, so that would just put them in a very dangerous situation, which is why I decided to play it safe and just keep in touch with them and be there for them all the time. I don't know if this was the right thing to do in the long run, but at the time it seemed like the only solution. Maybe there could have been a better way to handle it, but it was the only thing I could think of, so I did what I thought was right. It wasn't easy for me, and for years I kept wondering whether I should apply for custody or somehow take it away from their mother and get them adopted again. But who knows what could have happened, and I thought it was better for them to stay with their mother, and with me, than to take any risks. I hope that for most people the question I've raised may be that I may be the bad guy for what I did, but I don't care. I know the children are living well now. I did everything I could to keep them happy and safe. I was always there for them, so I have no reason to feel guilty. Update 2. Hi, since Diana's message, today I received many calls from relatives who spoke to her. They told me I was wrong, blah blah blah. It really tired me, and I'm very busy at work, that's why I couldn't post in time before, but today, after a brief discussion with my nieces and nephews, I decided to write a post to share my story and also their story, because I don't think anyone in the family really knows what these children went through as children and how much ridicule they had to face every day, simply because Diana decided to get pregnant at a young age and abandon everything just for her then boyfriend. Even after that, she blamed others for her decisions and tried to make people think that she did everything for the sake of her children, but in reality she never stood by them. I think that since she told everyone that I took her children away from her, and now I have taken her fortune away from her, now that her children are doing well financially, people have a right to know the truth, not her distorted version of events, where she is somehow the victim and not the one who tormented everyone. They have already judged me for many things because they only know her side of the story and sympathize with her. But in fact, I am the one who should tell my story with the children, so I wrote everything out a few hours ago and posted it. So far, she hasn't said anything to me, and the only messages I've received are from relatives who previously judged me, and they've suddenly changed their attitude and want to tell me that they judged me too quickly and they want to apologize to me, but honestly that doesn't mean anything to me. I just want them to know the truth. I don't care what they think of me, but it was very important to me to tell the truth and share how Diana treats her children, which is why they no longer have contact with her. Now that it's over, I'm ready to move on. I honestly don't want anything more to do with Diana. I've been very happy for the past 6 years when she didn't contact me, and I think her kids are too. I don't understand why she felt the need to stir up so much drama, and if she wanted money, she could have just asked for it instead of pretending she wanted to be a mother again. Update 3. Today is the first day since I posted that post, and I think Diana finally woke up and decided to get back at me instead of contacting me personally. She decided to continue with the pretense and started commenting on that post, trying to make it seem like I was lying or something, but obviously that didn't work because as soon as she tried to comment, her kids started commenting and responding to her, reminding her of specific events from her childhood that were very mean to her, and it lasted for about an hour or so. I wasn't even sad about it, to be honest, and neither were the others because my nephews and nieces and we all really enjoyed the process. They completely humiliated her, and there was no way she could lie because every single lie she tried to tell me was to make me look like the bad guy, and she got called out on it. I was lucky to have decided to do this over the weekend, otherwise we may not have been able to defend ourselves so quickly. The whole thing lasted about an hour, after which she started deleting her comments to avoid people finding out about her lies. But it was too late because many people had already seen what was going on in the comment section. I think her actions also started to be criticized by other people, and she started deleting comments and retracting what she had said. In the end, she blocked me as well as her own children. I think this was her surrender in a way, and I'm glad she chose to do it, because she definitely couldn't win the fight against us, as we were clearly the superior party, morally and otherwise. I really thought deleting the comments would end our interaction, but then she chose to contact me personally, and she sent me a message saying she hoped I'd be happy now because I'd painted her as the villain and everyone hated her now. I thought that was really ironic, as that's what she'd wanted to do from the beginning. First she started it, and now she can't handle it just because I decided to give it to her. I don't even understand why people do this when they know they can't get back at someone. If you don't want to get involved, then stay out of it. I ignored the message, and we all continue to ignore her because we've grown tired of her. She's made her point.